Welcome back to the F3 Northeast Wake Q Source podcast. I'm your host, Blake Anderson, Money Pit, flying solo this week. My guest had a last minute unexpected conflict, so we got him scheduled for another week. And this week we're in Quadrant 3, Q 3.8 Candor. And we are now moving into the 5 leadership virtues. So just to kind of catch us up where we're at, the first quadrant of this methodology of this book is that you would get right, that you know how to look yourself in the mirror and you get yourself right first so that you can enter into quadrant 2, which is that you live right. So now you've kind of gotten right inside. Now you're able to live right and begin to be an example to other people, and you put your life in order together from the inside, then working to the outside. And then in quadrant 3, we're learning how to lead right. So eventually in quadrant 4, we can leave right. So quadrant 3, we started off talking about how to build teams, create shared leadership where you're delegating, where you're inviting other people into your leadership team and the table of responsibilities. Teams are built through trust and mutual competence. And then we spent the last 4 episodes talking about the 4 leadership skills, which is the leader's got to have the ability to cast a vision. It's got to have the ability to articulate that vision. Got to be able to persuade people to join them in that vision, and finally have to be able to exhort the team as they're executing and implementing that vision. Now, what those skills don't mention is whether you're a good leader or a bad leader. Even bad leaders, even notorious leaders, can do those leadership skills well, manipulate people to accomplish a greater vision, but they may not necessarily have any moral virtue or ethic. And that's really where now the next 5 weeks we're going to talk about the leadership virtues. And the first virtue is candor. And so candor is your willingness and ability to tell the truth. Whether it's good or it's bad, you are telling the truth. And candor is so important for leaders. There's plenty of leaders who are afraid of the truth, who maybe manipulate people with lies to be able to accomplish their vision. But a virtuous leader understands that the first virtue is being truthful, is leading with the truth. And being able to speak the truth in love and lead people into that greater vision from this shared commitment. So I think I really like the headings and the Socratics for this chapter. And we're talking about the first Socratic is, are all truths self-evident? You know, um, all truths aren't self-evident. There's plenty of truths that we're sitting on that maybe are hidden in our closet or happening in side conversations and back rooms. And so a leader's got to bring candor to the table. A lot of leaders are afraid of a hard truth. They're afraid of confrontation. They are afraid of conflict. And candor has got to be important if you're going to build long-term trust and long-term commitment to a greater cause. Because if people begin to know that you're afraid of the truth, you're afraid of conflict, then their respect for you as a leader is going to continue to go down, and they're not going to trust you with all the things that you need them to trust you with. Our team, in our real estate development company, just completed going through Patrick Lencioni's book, The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. In the 5 dysfunctions of a team, the second dysfunction after the absence of trust is the avoidance of conflict. We as leaders can't avoid healthy conflict. Conflict, especially when it's done in love, is healthy for a team to continue to grow and expand, but it can really only be done if the leaders on the team are willing to have candor, which means they will step into moments, even if they're tough, and bring the truth to bear. Now, there's some skill in candor, right? And the skill in candor is being able to not just step into hard situations, but be able to handle them with love and support. Sometimes the most loving thing that you can do for someone is to speak the truth, even when it hurts, even when they don't want to hear it. Because it's always someone's best interest that they know the truth of a situation or their performance or how you feel about them so that we can rectify things and continue to move things together. But I think we've all kind of been victim of someone who was a truth teller, but wasn't concerned about feelings. They seemed to just kind of throw criticism around, and maybe there was truth to it, but it just didn't feel good when you got it. Um, and we know that that's not the way. No one wants to be castigated or put on trial in front of everybody, even if it is the truth or made a mockery of. But at the same time, I think we've been probably all served around leaders who are afraid of hard conversations. And in the moment, it might feel okay to avoid conflict, but big things get done when we look the truth in the face. When we look at our problems together, we can find real solutions and we're not afraid of it. So candor is important in our willingness to speak hard truth. I mean, think about it for yourself. Like, do you want people to avoid conflict with you and avoid telling you something really important because they're afraid to hurt your feelings? How far can you really go if you don't know where you stand, right? So I think, candor kind of speaks for itself, but I really want to end this episode really touching on kind of the last section of this chapter, which is that candor is a two-way street. And so it's one thing to get good at stepping into situations, being willing to speak the truth in love, even when it's hard, and growing in your ability to lead people that way. But it's a whole nother thing to be able to receive truth. And you can't be a leader who just speaks truth down from on high, but is unapproachable and is unwilling to hear from your team about how things are going, or maybe when you're not meeting the standard that they expect from you. And so candor is a two-way street. And if you are someone who sees the importance of speaking the truth, then you need to fight for the importance of receiving the truth. And now, good leaders create an environment around them where their team and the people that work for them, work around them, can approach them with the truth. They're inviting the feedback that they know will make them a better leader and make the team a better team and help them accomplish their vision. So you can't be afraid of candor from someone else, and you can't punish and discipline candor when it's given to you. And sometimes it might sting, and sometimes it might feel overly critical. But the first things first is a leader has got to get right. They've got to look themselves in the mirror. And sometimes that candor from your team is that mirror being held up in front of you that you would see it. And if we apply this methodology from a first principles thinking, then we know that we're always trying to get right. You never finish getting right. That's a constant process of getting right. And getting right is looking yourself in the mirror, finding the truth of the situation. And sometimes that mirror comes in the form of critiques, commentary, uh, and criticism from those around us. But hopefully, if you've been a leader who gives candor lovingly, supports people as they make adjustments in their performance and in their leadership, then you'll be approachable with people who want to care for your heart, who want to give you feedback from a loving place. And so the Bible says God is not mocked. As a man soweth, so shall he reap. And so if you want truth in your life, you're going to have to be able to speak truth. If you want truth to come back to you loving, you're going to have to be able to give truth out in a loving manner. So short episode, but super important principle with your leadership. And as you can see, loving, virtuous leaders are going to cast vision with candor, with love. They're going to articulate their vision with this loving candor. They're going to persuade people not through manipulation and lies, but with candor, as they will bring the truth to bear so that we can see it, so that we can wrestle with it, so that we can move forward as it. And finally, they're going to continue to exhort their team with candor, both being truthful with praise, giving honest praise and encouragement, but also giving honest feedback and correction with a goal not to tear someone down, but to build them up. See, candor has a motivation of building people up. You bring the truth even in hard situations, not because you want to tear them down or make them feel bad, but because you know that's the most important thing that you can do for someone to help build them up is they understand the truth of a situation, and then you can walk beside them and empower them to step further into that. And I think if you embrace that and you do that as a leader, your team will respond to you with greater level of respect, with dignity, with integrity, and commitment to you as a leader, knowing that you are willing to tell the truth and you tell it in a way that moves the team forward. So appreciate you tuning in to all of these episodes. I hate doing these episodes alone. Hopefully, I don't have another one that I got to fly solo. I love the wisdom of the rest of our community, as all of you are leaders who do these things so well, and you have so much wisdom and experience to share with the rest of the packs. So I'm excited to get some more new voices on as we finish this year, and continue to build out the rest of this content as we follow this book to a close. But appreciate you and look forward to speaking with y'all next week on the F3Q Source podcast.